So if you do have a block handy, some of you do have blocks, you can use your block, and you should all have knee pads now. Those of you, Micah, did I give you a knee pad? Are you sure? Because we're giving them away today if you want to take one home. So it's okay. Yes, it is. So we'll just start the class with a little bit of silence. And if you do have a block, you can place your glutes on the block and just allows your knees to relax down towards the floor. You can place your hands on your quads or on your knees, whatever feels comfortable for you. And we'll play with a little bit of mindfulness, which is really a buzzword for meditation. So meditation can be quite scary for people. And we'll take a moment just to observe the mind. And what I mean by that is we become an observer rather than getting involved with the thoughts. And a really nice way to do this is to imagine that you are sitting on a park bench and you're watching people walk by you. And the people are like your thoughts. So you watch the thought pass, but you don't have to talk to every single person that passes you by, just like you don't have to get involved with those thoughts. You can watch them and let them go. And sometimes when you do this, the more your mind starts to throw really strange thoughts your way to try and grab your attention. So the trick of meditation is to not have a belief that you are stopping the mind, because we can't stop the mind. That's what our brain does. But we can observe it and step back. And if you find it really difficult to observe the thoughts, take the observation to the breath. And after a while, we come to the observation that not everything that comes into our mind is true. And when we realize that some of the dialogue we have with ourselves is not helpful. And if we take a step back, we can decide to let that go. We'll take a few more breaths here. Just let your shoulders roll down, relax. And slow that breathing down. I'd like you to hold onto this meditative state. And slowly wiggle your fingers and remove the block if it's under your glutes. Taking your right leg out, we're going to a side bend, but we're going to try and stay in that space of observation of the mind and relaxation. So reaching the left arm up and stretching over towards the right. Now remember here we're not warm, so we're going to be taking it easy. I encourage you, if you feel comfortable, to close your eyes. And we do this to allow us to focus on the breath or the sensation in the body. So we're rolling that shoulder so it's inside the socket, but also opening the chest towards the roof. So we're not rounding the shoulder down towards the floor and leaning the chest down. The chest rolls up towards the roof as we fold over to the side and relaxing neck and head, letting it be heavy. And if it feels good, you can use your right hand under your right cheek, just support the head, just so your head feels safe to relax down. Trying to keep both glutes on the floor here. Top arm, second arm position reaches up and over. Everything else stays the same, pointing towards the left-hand side, but the hand is off the floor. The neck stays relaxed. So the point here is we're rolling that shoulder back towards the roof, leaning down and getting this side stretch, but also through a release through the side of the neck. Now, if you are someone who's highly stressed or a perfectionist, this is going to really be challenging for you. And I can say that because that's me. We hold a lot of pressure in the neck and stress. So see if you can just let a little go. Third arm position, that left hand comes behind you for a slight bind. I'll show you from the back. So it comes around the side. To bind, maybe your hand is just on your lower back, maybe it can reach to your upper thigh. And what this is going to do is roll your shoulder up, but also deepen the stretch through your neck. Take one more big breath here. Now to come out, place your right hand on your right cheek, take the weight of the head and help yourself up. Because it can be really intense to use your muscle to pull yourself out of that. Let's swap sides. I place my hand underneath my knee to bend the knee because it's been nice and relaxed. And then the other side. So having about 2 fists distance between your foot and your thigh is quite a good spot. I like to make sure that I'm not sitting on my glutes and that I'm actually sitting on my hips, my hip bones. So left hand goes down just beside your calf or your knee, whatever feels better. I'm going to reach up with that right hand and then lean over to the left. So there'll generally be one side that feels nicer than the other. And let's go back to that observation of either the mind or the body. So closing the eyes. Maybe the breath is something that feels good for you to focus on as well. As you inhale, open the chest towards the roof, and as you exhale, fold a little further if that feels good. Wrapping that shoulder blade so that it is around in the armpit socket, getting length through the arm. Maybe left hand supports the left side of the face to allow your neck to relax a little more. Second hand position, the right hand comes up and over, points down towards the right hand side of the floor, but isn't touching. Feeling a release through side of the neck. Rolling that right shoulder open towards the roof and bending down into a side bend. So rather than the shoulder closing down and forward, the chest is open, the right shoulder rolls back, and this will intensify your side bend and also the neck stretch. If you're not feeling the neck, you can have a play with different hand positions. So you can rotate the hand until maybe, for me, when I have my thumb up, it intensifies that stretch through the neck. Third hand position, bind, so that right hand comes behind you, maybe touches your upper back or goes around to have contact with your thigh or your pants on the left. Rolling that shoulder open towards the roof as you side bend down. 2 more breaths here. When you're ready, the left hand comes under the left side of the face, takes the weight of the head to help yourself up to standing, removing the hand from behind you. Gently blink open the eyes. Namaste. Welcome back. You can bend into that other knee. We'll come into a tabletop position. Come into some cat-cows. Today we're focusing on binds and hips. So inhale, drop the belly down, gaze up. And then exhale, push the floor away, gaze towards belly button. Take another one of these in your style and in your pace. It feels good. Then meeting back into a neutral spine, we'll come into a twist. So thread the needle, reach the right hand up. Exhale underneath the body, threading through to the other side, releasing the right cheek to floor and letting the head be heavy. Maybe going into that place of observation for another breath. Pushing into the left hand, come back to center. Breath in. Raise the left hand up, thread the needle to the other side, threading underneath the body, relaxing the shoulder, cheek onto the floor, letting that supportive right hand be really relaxed as well, maybe bending through the elbow. Pushing through right hand, come back to center, tabletop position. Walk hands forward, coming into a downward facing dog. We tuck the toes, push up and back, start to straighten those legs and pedal out the legs here to get them nice and warmed up for our first downward facing dog of the day. Spread the hands wide and see if you can grip the mat like a little frog. So slightly bending through the fingers to grip the mat to start to activate the hands. Looking between the hands, stepping forward. If you can't make it the whole way, just grab your leg and bring it up between the hands. Inhale into flat back and exhale to fold. Bend through the knees as you roll up. Hands come through heart center and up to the sky, and exhale, hands to heart. Now today, what I'd like you to focus on is this idea of self-care. And the best way I can explain this is that you cannot fill from an empty cup, which means if you do not serve yourself, you cannot serve others. So using this practice today as an opportunity of self-love, of self-care, and taking what you need. Take a big breath in, hands up, and exhale to fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, hands to floor, step or jump back into a high plank. Coming forward and down, chaturanga. Inhale into upward facing dog, roll shoulders back. And exhale into downward facing dog. Again, wrapping those shoulder blades around the armpits, like you're squeezing lemons between your armpits. That's one of Kara's. I was looking at you to see if you noticed. Looking between your hands, option to step or jump forward. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale to fold. Bend through the knees, rise up, breath in. Breath out, fold forward. Halfway lift, inhale. So flat back and neutral neck, gazing towards the floor. Hands come down, option to step or to jump back. Now with your chaturanga, you can stay in a plank or lower the knees, come down, breath out. Breath in, we come up, upward facing dog, rolling the shoulders, maybe squeezing the glutes and thighs lift if you've been doing that in your practice. Exhale, down dog. Pedaling out the legs, taking a couple of breaths here, nodding the head yes and shaking the head no to release the neck. Look between hands, option step or jump with control. Try to make it soft if you're jumping. Inhale halfway. Exhale to fold. Bend through knees to protect the back, roll up. Hands come overhead, breath in. Breath out to fold. Breath in, halfway. Breath out, hands to mat. Step or jump back and move through your flow. If you want to pimp up your chaturangas, you can do them on one leg, or you can do some little push-ups like what Ross does if you want to take it a little further. Breath in, upward facing dog. And breath out, down dog. Inhale, the right leg comes up. And exhale, knee to nose. Inhale to rise. Exhale, knee to left elbow. Inhale to rise. Exhale, knee to right elbow. Inhale up. Placing the leg down, other side. So left leg rises up. Exhale, knee to nose. Waking up those abs. Inhale up. Exhale to left elbow. Inhale to rise. Exhale to right. Inhale back to downward facing dog. Taking a breath. If you do need to take a break at any point, child's pose is also there for you. Right leg rises up, sweep between the hands. Come up into crescent lunge. So with crescent lunge, rather than just coming up with momentum, try to come up nice and Hands up, and we wrap the shoulder blades around so they're inside the socket. If you have really a lot of tension through your shoulders, try to avoid any of these movements. We just bend the elbows and relax the shoulders. Come a little deeper, so lunge a little further down to feel more into the front hip flexor. Exhale, hands to floor, step back into high plank and move through your flow, high to low plank. Inhale, up dog, and exhale, we meet in downward facing dog. Left leg rises, breath in. Exhale, step between the hands, take it slow to come to crescent lunge. So we slowly rise to use the strength in the core. Open the chest. Come a little deeper. Make sure the hips are forward so they're not opening to the side. You guys all look really great. Option to bend that back knee if it's too intense to straighten the leg. Hands to floor, step back and flow. So choosing the flow that your body needs today, what serves you. Maybe that's having your knees down. Maybe that's doing some chaturanga push-ups. Inhale, right leg rises. We're going to build on that movement. Exhale, between the hands. Inhale, rise, crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two. So front heel in line with the instep of the back foot. Bend deep into front knee, gaze towards the hand. Bind. So the right hand comes over and the left hand behind you. Maybe the fingers just touch. Maybe you can hook them around. Maybe you just grab your top. But roll the chest open to work on opening the chest. This is going to help us with our binds later on. Exhale, warrior two. Straighten that front leg. Lean forward, triangle. So if you can bring your hand down to the inside of the thigh and lift up through the top arm and relax the neck, that's an option. Or if you want to grab your ankle and use that to pull up and create strength, you can also practice there. Relax neck and head even more. Have a traction between your feet. So you imagine your front heel is pulling towards your back heel to activate through the legs and lift up. Squeeze the glutes. Keep it active. Exhale, bend through that front knee, hands to floor. Move through your flow. So high to low plank. Inhale up. Exhale, down dog. Left leg rises, breath in. Breath out between the hands. Rise up, crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Breath in, gaze towards front middle finger. Breath out a little deeper. Breath in, we come to bind. So this time left arm comes over, right hand under. You normally have one side that's tighter, and for me it's this side. See here if you can bring the elbow towards the roof and open through the chest. Exhale through warrior two. And then we straighten front leg for triangle. I have a little bit of a closer stance for this, so you can shuffle the feet. We move forward with the hand and then tilt down. Maybe the hand just rests on the side of your calf. That's okay. I'd rather you do that than dump into the floor and come to flexibility. I want you to use your core here for this particular movement. Squeeze your legs together. Activate through the core, through the hips. Lift up. Bend through that front knee, hands to floor, move through your flow, high to low plank. Breath in to open chest, up dog. Breath out, downward facing dog. Breath in, right leg rises. Exhale, sweep between the hands, crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale to bind, right arm up. Exhale, warrior two. Triangle pose, reach forward and tilt. Breath in, lengthen through chest. And exhale, bend that front knee, extended side angle. So option is to have your arm resting on your quad. That's option one. You can reach your top hand towards me at the front to get a nice little side bend here as well. Or if you want to come into flexibility, that bottom hand can come towards the floor. And I invite you to take a half bind if you have it. So the left hand comes up and over, grabs your thigh or your top. So from the back, it looks like this. This is just preparing us for binds. Roll that top chest open and stay here. If you have a full bind, you can take it. Exhale, coming out of your bind, left hand comes to the floor, pivot onto the ball of your back foot, open towards the right into easy twist. Relax the neck. There's no need to gaze up. Hands come to floor and flow. So vinyasa, high to low plank. Inhale up and exhale. We meet back in down dog. Left leg rises, breath in. Breath out, step between the hands. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, lengthen through the arms. Exhale to bind. So left arm over. Maybe your fingertips touch. Maybe you can bind the fingers. Exhale back to warrior two. Straighten the front leg, trikonasana, triangle. Reach forward, tilt down. Maybe a slightly shorter step. See if you can lift through that top arm. Use that core. Exhale, bend through the knee, extended side angle. So you can rest on the quad if that feels better for you. Or if you want to go into more flexibility, you can place that hand on the floor and try to use that as traction to open the chest. Half bind, top right hand comes behind you. Maybe just touches your lower back. Maybe you can reach around to grab your quad to deepen that twist. Maybe you have a full bind and you're welcome to take it. Relax the head. Inhale, coming out of your bind, hand comes down to the floor, come onto the ball of the back foot, easy twist, left arm raises up. Hands to floor, breath out, move through your flow. High to low, inhale to come up, and exhale, back to home base. Pedaling out the legs. Little nod and shake of the head, yes and no. Inhale, the right leg rises up. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale up. Exhale, knee to right elbow. Down to wrist. Down to elbow. Or up to elbow. Then back up. Exhale, knee to left elbow. To left wrist. To left elbow. Back up. You're almost out of those now. Exhale, sweep between the hands. Low lunge. Rise up. Come a little deeper into the legs. We're going to try some more binds together. So open into warrior two. Coming into our extended side angle again. But we're going to try here to come into a bind, a full bind, for those of you who didn't take it. So the half bind, the hand comes back behind your back. Maybe your bottom arm comes underneath you. Maybe you can roll that top shoulder open. It's okay to just come to a half bind and keep your arm on the floor. If you are in a bind and want to try bird of paradise, this is your opportunity. If you are fine with bird of paradise and you want to try something a little more challenging, bound half moon is lifting the back leg up instead, which is really hard. So whatever you want to do, bird of paradise. If you get up to bird of paradise, you can also play with straightening the leg. Kara's demonstrating. You guys are all awesome. Look at you guys. Come down, bend the knee, foot to floor, step back into your lunge. Hands frame the front foot, step back into plank. Right hand comes to the center of the mat, open up to the left, side plank. A few options, you can come down onto your elbow or lower your bottom knee, or if you feel strong, raise the top leg. Now, little extra option, that top left leg can come behind you, so you can flip over into wild thing. Just an option. You don't have to take it, but just if it feels good. Come back into a side plank, and then move through your chaturanga. So high to low plank. Inhale to breath in, come up, and exhale back. Nice job. Have you missed us, Milan? Milan is back and I'm so excited. So lift that left leg up, breath in. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, right leg up, or left leg up. Exhale, knee to left elbow, to left wrist, to left elbow, back up. Exhale, to right wrist, to right elbow, to right wrist, and back up. Exhale, sweep between the hands. Get low through the lunge. Rise up into crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two. And then coming into our extended side angle again, taking your bind. So we're
Coming down deep into the bind, open the chest first. That top hand comes behind and goes as far as possible. Then that bottom hand comes underneath. Maybe they meet. Rolling that top shoulder towards the roof rather than it facing down towards the floor. If you're here, coming into your bird of paradise, or little challenge if you want to take it over the next month, is coming into bound half moon, which is straightening the back leg. This is something that I'm going to be working on because it's not something I'm very good at. And if you're in your bird of paradise, have a play with straightening the leg. To come out, try to come out with control. So bend the leg, come down, then step back into your lunge. Hands frame the front foot. Step back into plank. Left hand to center of the mat, open towards the right. Take your options if you need it. Lowering knee, lowering elbow, or raising the leg. If you have the leg raised, maybe you bend through that knee and come into wild thing on this side. So flipping over slightly into a back bend. Reaching through the top hand. Exhale, come back into your plank and move through your flow when you're ready. Maybe a one-legged chaturanga, maybe your knees, because I'm beasting you. And exhale back into downward facing dog. Taking an opportunity here for a drink of water or a little cheeky rest. So coming into child's pose, if that is what you need. If you're still in your down dog and you want to go a little more, you can come into your turbo down dog. So bend the elbows, squeeze them together, work on that shoulder strength. Wherever we are, gently push up and look between the hands. We're moving into a squat. So coming into a low squat when you're ready. If your heels aren't touching the floor, you can use blocks behind your heels, or you can roll the mat over if you don't have blocks, but you all seem to be okay. Hands to the heart. So I like to use my elbows on the insides of my thighs to push them out. So this will help you open through the hips. So we're trying to bring the tailbone towards the floor and lift through the chest so that we're leaning forward and going into this almost a forward fold. We're trying a forest move today, and it feels weird when you first do it, so just stay with me. Some of you have done it. It's called birthright. So we're going to have the right hand down to the floor and the left hand on the inside of the thigh. I'd recommend you have your feet quite wide for this one, wider than a normal squat. Place the left hand on the inside of the thigh and traction. You're going to have to lift your glutes a little bit up off the floor for this. So push through that hip, and you feel an opening through the hip, but also tractioning out through the spine. The right ear relaxes towards right shoulder to release through the neck. Roll that top left shoulder up towards the roof, yeah, and push into the hip, beautiful. Releasing, lowering the glutes down, coming back to center. Let's try the other side. Did you feel that one, guys? Yeah, awesome, yeah, good. So left hand down, right hand on the inside of the thigh. So you lift the glutes up a little bit, and then you push into that hip, straighten the arm, relax that left ear towards left shoulder, and feel this stretch through the hips and the spine. So Craig, maybe move your hand more onto your thigh than your knee, and straighten your arm, pushing it, push it, yes. You feel it a little bit more? Yeah, good. Yeah. Inhale, come back to center. And bring the hands to heart, just taking a breath. We're going to take the binds into a baby bird of paradise. So some of you know where I'm going. The right hand comes down. The left hand comes up as we relax the neck again. Now you have a few options. You can stay in a bind, which is bringing that left hand behind you and right hand behind you, binding the hands. So you can just stay here if you don't want to take the next version. If you want to try the next version, we bring that left foot underneath the body because it's going to be taking your weight. We're coming up onto that left leg. Coming up onto the right tippy toes. Try to put as much weight into the left foot as you can. Come up even more onto the tippy toes of the right foot. And you can gently, the more that you squeeze your arms together, you can rise up. You will be able to do it. It looks harder than what it is. So you have to get that foot underneath the body to hold the weight. Come up on the tippy toe, Craig. You got it. Yep. Almost. You're so going to lower your heel and then gently come down. Bring your hands to your heart. I'm going to be practicing it for the next month, so you've got a lot of time to practice. And if you don't want to do it, you can just come into the bind and relax. It's still a beautiful hip opener. Let's do the left side. So left hand down, right hand up, reaching behind you. Your option here is to stay here and just relax for a moment while everyone is silly. So if you want to try the bind balance, you can bring that right foot underneath the body. If you can have your foot flat on the floor, it will help you. Come up onto the tip of that right foot. Try to bring your glutes up a little bit to take weight onto that right foot. Even come up more onto the tippy toes, and then it's almost like, yes, you got it. Woo, you're flying. And when you want to come down, it's the same. So you guys can do it. You can bend through that knee, trying to take it with slow to come down. It looks harder once you kind of get how it works. It's actually easier than what it looks. So we're going to play with a baby crow, which is easier than real crow because there's less space to fall. So we're going to bring the hands down onto the floor, grab your biceps, hands out. Your option is to come into a dolphin if you don't want to try crow. So dolphin, you can just bring the legs up, walk in and work on strength. If you want to try baby dolphin, come into baby crow, come into a baby dolphin, which is when your knees are bent. Walk your knees in until they touch the backs of your arms. Bend your elbows a lot. Lean forward until your face is almost touching the floor, and then lift your toes and point them at the back. So it's actually less stressful for crow because if you do fall, it's not very far. So you'll get time to practice this one as well, don't worry. And when you've had enough, you can just come into a down dog. So at Brave, what we do is we keep our sequences essentially very similar with our key poses for a whole month so that you can learn rather than it changing every week and you trying to learn fancy choreography. We try to do it so you can learn new poses. Reaching the right leg up, breath in. Exhale, sweep between the hands. We're coming into a low lunge. Those of you who have padding, this is when you need it. So placing the padding underneath that left knee to protect the joint. Interlace fingers and place them on your quad, pushing down gently on the quad and then pulling that femur forward. But when you do that, I want you to just watch that hip doesn't open to the left. You want to keep your hips straight. So what you're doing here is you're actually you're encouraging the muscles to lengthen through the hip flexor. Taking a breath here. And just an option for those of you who want to take it, you do not have to. If you want to go deeper, you can gently reach behind you with your left arm and pull your foot in towards your glutes while leaning forward. So this whole sequence is preparing us for what's called king pigeon, which is the key pose of the day that you can play with if you want. And lowering that back knee, hands to floor. Exhale into half splits. So we start to straighten that front leg. We try to elongate through the chest. So rather than rounding down through the shoulders, I'd rather you keep a straight back and you fold forward from the hips. Inhale, come back into a low lunge. And exhale into half splits. So straightening through that front leg, leaning back. Trying to keep those hips also facing the front of the mat. So rather than twisting, it's just something to watch. Inhale back into low lunge. And exhale, we're going to come into aero lunge, those of you who know it. So first step is bringing your hands on your quad. Your hands can stay here. We're going to push into the back foot. So the top of the foot needs to be on the floor. We're going to squeeze the glutes and core. And that knee just lifts off just a little bit. So this is just strength. And hands up if you're feeling really strong. We'll hold for 3, for 2, for 1. Hands to the floor first, then the knee drops. Nice job. Lizard pose, walking that right foot over towards the left and coming down onto the elbows if it feels good for you. If you have a block, you can place it underneath your arms. If you want to stay up with straight arms and that feels good, that is absolutely fine too. So as I said with the start of the class, you take what you need. So there's no reason to push yourself beyond what feels nice in your body. So you're the boss of this hour, this yoga class. You take what you need. If you're down on your elbows, you could slowly start to come up onto the hands. And we're coming into flying dragon. So come onto the blade edge of the right foot. The right hand comes onto the inside of the quad as you gaze over the right shoulder. So this is coming into the hips. So the hand should not be on the knee, but on the inside of the thigh. Just so Rosso and yeah. The reason why we do that is because you don't want to be pushing your knee out in a weird direction. It can actually damage the knee. Option if you want to take it and you're quite bendy, you grabbing that back leg, bringing it in foot to butt. This is a really deep back bend and a very deep stretch to the quad, so please take it easy and only take it if you know that it's safe. One more breath here. And then releasing that foot gently with control. Coming into half pigeon, so walking that foot over towards the left and moving into your half pigeon. So that back leg, if you look behind you, should be straight and the top of the foot should be on the floor. If you notice the foot is moving on any angles, it's normally an indication of your hips not being square. So just have a little look and you can use a block underneath that right glute if you find that your hips are twisting. And that's just going to keep your hips even and straight so that you're getting a nice even stretch through the hips. And just so you know, I used a block for 2 whole years when I first started yoga, so don't worry if you need a block for a while. And this is where we can use our yogi powers of observation. Seeing if you can bring that practice back. So observing that breath. Or observing the sensation in the body as well and acknowledging that. What is your jaw doing? Is it clenching? Can you release it a little? If you find that you're shaking in any muscles because you're holding on, see if you can isolate those muscles and see if you can, with your mind, let them release a little. And it's quite amazing to see what happens when you stop fighting the pose. Now, option to stay here, or if you want to play with king pigeon, you can start to push up. King pigeon, you want to have your knee shin a bit more bent than usual and flex your toes. These little toes is what are going to hold you up. So you need to have a lot of activity in the feet. So flex the toes and come up so that your right glute is a bit off the floor. Reach your left hand behind you and see if you can bind with your back foot and just gently pull it in towards your glutes. If this feels okay, then you can start to pull it in a little more. If that still feels okay, you can have a play with reaching. This is it. You don't have to get this today, but where you're going is, this is why we're working on binds and quad openers. So what you can do is just stay here and work on the quad flexibility. And when you've had enough, it feels good for me now doing this, but I know that it's really challenging when you first start. And gently let that back leg go. And we'll slowly use our arm to help it around towards the front. We're coming into a forward fold. So half forward fold. So I remove my glute padding from underneath my hip bone, so I'm sitting nice and straight. I like to show what I do every now and again so people know. So if I'm sitting on my glutes, I instantly round from my back because my pelvis is facing back, but my spine wants to go that way. So if I move the glutes, I'm actually also moving the hip bones. So you want to imagine your spine is like in a pot plant. Your hips are a pot plant and your spine is part of it. When you do a forward fold, the plant and the pot go together. So you're not rounding through the back is straight. So we're reaching up through the chest and we're tilting from the hips. As soon as you feel like you need to round, you can bend that front knee a little bit if you have really tight hamstrings to try and keep that integrity of the spine. Then as you get further, there is a little bit of a forward fold to get to the full flexibility, but ideally you want to keep that chest open. And the neck can just be relaxed, so just gaze towards the floor. So you have a long, straight neck with no compression. One more big breath here. Hands gently walk up. The knee bent, take it over the top of the straight leg, coming into Lord of the Fish. The left arm hooks around as we twist towards the right. Here, you place your right hand behind your back a little closer and then straighten your arm. It'll force you to straighten. And you can push into that right elbow to encourage the chest opening and the twist to the side. Now come back to center, hands behind you facing towards the body, feet to the floor, breath out, hips to roof, so we straighten through spine. Exhale, glutes to floor, cross the legs over and jump through or step through to your high plank and vinyasa. So high to low, inhale to up dog and exhale to down dog. Left leg raises up, breath in. Exhale, sweep forward between the hands as we take the other side. So right knee drops. Get that padding if you have it. I recommend that you do pad up the knee for this. Inhale, we come up, interlace the hands, pushing down gently on the quad and then pulling with that push down into the femur. You encourage the femur to move forward while the hips stay straight. Yeah, you're all doing it perfect. So the more that you let your hips sink, the more we come into flexibility. And just be mindful if you do feel your back come out a little bit, because it will also lead you into a back bend doing the hip movements. Inhale, hands to floor. Then exhale into half splits. Again, remembering that the spine and the hips should move together so the back is straight as you tilt from the hips. Rather than a fold, the chest stays open and spine straight. Inhale, come back into a deep lunge, breath in. And breath out, back into half splits. Just have a look at your hips and see if they're twisting. I've noticed that my right hip was pulled back, so I'm going to pull my right hip forward a little so that the stretch is even. Inhale, back to low lunge, coming into aero lunge. So prepared, make sure that back foot is pushing flat into the. Sometimes I need to bring the foot in a little bit, especially when I first started this pose. Interlace hands onto the thigh. Use all of the core strength, the glute strength, to then just lift the knee just a little bit. If you feel really strong, you can have your hands up, 3 breaths. And the lower you are, the harder it is. The higher it is, you're using a different muscle. So try and keep it low. Exhale, hands to floor, lower the knee. Walk the left foot even more towards the left for lizard. Come down onto the elbows if that feels good, or hands straight if that feels good. Wherever you are, see if you can let your head just relax. Close your eyes and see if you can just feel into the space. And if you observe you're coming into a place of thinking, see if you can use your breath or sensation as a way to distract your mind. And that's why yoga is such a beautiful tool of meditation for people who struggle with sitting in silence. It gives you something to focus on. Inhale, hands come up under the face, raising through the chest, coming into our flying dragon. So come onto the blade edge of the left foot. Left hand comes onto the inside of the thigh to open through the thigh, gaze shoulder. Keep a micro bend in that right elbow so that you're coming from strength and not locking out the joints. It can cause damage to the shoulders. Maybe if you want to take it, reach behind you and grab your back leg. We're going to hold it a little longer because I just realized I missed out another quad opener before. So you're going to have to stay here a little longer to prepare for King Pigeon. Those of you who are not grabbing your leg, you can just come back into lizard if you're not going into the quad opener. Release your neck if you're here for a little while longer. So releasing right ear to right shoulder, not needing to gaze up. This gets a little bit more relaxation through this pose. Releasing that back leg, take it slow, don't slingshot it back. Then half pigeon, so walking that foot towards the right and lowering the knee down. So imagine the hip bones are facing towards even. If they're twisting, a block is really nice underneath that left glute to keep your hips even. So those hip bones are shining forward towards the front of the mat. If you have any pain in that front left knee, taking a figure 4 on your back is a really good option as well. See if with your breath, if you can inhale to lengthen through the spine and exhale to fold a little more. With our fold forwards, using the breath is really powerful. Those of you who wish to stay here a little longer, please do. If you want to try King Pigeon, and I recommend it if you did it on one side, you should do it on both. You can gently push up. And it's good to bend that knee a little bit more and flex the toes so we activate those toes as much as we can, just from falling forward. Then even open the chest, and your left glute is no longer on the mat, it's raised up. Reach behind you with the right hand to grab the foot and gently pull it in towards the body. So it's going to feel really strong through the quad here. So as you exhale, see if you can pull it a little more. If your foot gets quite close towards your glutes or your back, you can start to having a play with the bind. But until then, I recommend just staying here because the King Pigeon can also be a very intense back bend. So you've got to watch it with your back. So it's quite good to stay here. I like to actually have my toes on the inside of my elbow and then just gently pull it forward. This deepens the opening. One more breath. And exhale, let that back leg go down. Rolling onto your left glutes and helping the back leg around towards the front for our forward fold. So removing the padding sitting on your sit bones, they call them, the bottom of your hips. Reach up. So imagine that plant pot. Your hips are the plant pot. We're reaching through the chest and that the hips fold. So we're not rounding through the back. It's from the hips themselves. And that spine stays straight. I have a little bit of a hamstring injury on this side, so I can't go as low. I was being a bit too aggressive with my splits training. So now I've lost a bit of flexibility. So it's a good learning for me that I don't think my body does splits. Again, you can use that tool of opening the chest, elongating through the spine, and folding with the exhale. It's a really great way to deepen through fold forwards. Hands walk up gently, stacking each vertebra on top of each other. The left foot comes over the top of the straight foot, and the right arm hooks around to create traction to open the chest towards the left. You can take a little hand mudra if you like, so hand position. You can bring your index finger and thumb together if you want to just try a little yoga hand movement. The left hand can come a little closer towards your back, and as you straighten through your arm, it will make your back straighter. I love this twist. Inhale back to center, hands behind you, feet flat onto the floor. Option for a reverse tabletop or the full expression is straightening the legs and then bringing the hips up, but this can be quite intense. So please feel free to just take this version. I like to gaze towards my belly, or if it feels nice, let your head fall back. Exhale, glutes to floor. Cross the legs over. Hands forward. And you can have a little play with a jump through if you want, which is getting onto those tips of the toes and flinging yourself up to give you enough momentum to jump back. Just an option. Move through your flow, high to low plank. Inhale to up dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. Look between the hands, knees between the hands, coming into a lovely boat pose. And I'll just grab the backs of my legs till we're all here together. We won't be doing too many, don't worry. So we're going to open the chest. If you want to make it a little easier on yourself, you can bend your knees. If you want to make it harder, you straighten your legs. Open the chest with the hands facing up, high boat. We go down to low boat, so we're hovering just off the floor. Inhale to high. Exhale halfway. High boat. Low boat. High boat. Milan's yawning halfway. I'm going to make you stay here longer now, Milan. High boat and low boat. We stay here. We're going to roll over onto the left cheek and then over to the right, to the left. We've got one more. To the right. And then exhale, release. Bring your heels in towards your glutes, coming into some back bends. So tickle the backs of your ankles, push through the heels. There's an option to bring a block with you, so place it between your thighs. That's just to ensure that you're engaging through the quads. Take a big breath in. And to exhale, bring up the hips towards the roof, interlace the fingers and roll the shoulders under the body, coming into your bridge. I encourage you to push down through the heels and then pull your heels towards you to activate your glutes and also the backs of your legs. Really big muscles are hamstrings and glutes, and we need to use them here. The more that you squeeze through your glutes and push your hips up through extension, you're going to be increasing your back bend and also growing strength. To come down, slowly lower your upper back, undo your hands behind you. Then middle back comes to floor and lower back. Imagine like you're lowering a chain onto the ground. That's how your spine should be. Then windscreen wipe your knees from side to side. Coming into an inversion, I'd recommend you could take a restful inversion, which is a Viparita Karate, which is placing a block underneath your hips or just having your feet up towards the roof. This is also called waterfall in English. So you can take that as a restful version or shoulder stand. If you're coming into shoulder stand, bringing the legs up over the head, imagining your body's like a little tripod. You want to squeeze your legs together and your glutes and point your toes towards the roof. So it's kind of between pointing and flexing the feet. So imagining your balls of your feet are walking on the ceiling. Plow pose is here for you for those who want it. You flex the toes and then bring the feet over the head. If your feet are flat on the floor, you can place your hands behind you. Otherwise, keep your hands on your lower back. Maybe bend the elbows and bend the knees and bring the knees in towards the face if that feels good. To come out of the pose, hands come behind you, palms to the floor like brakes, pushing against the floor, using your core. So again, we're unfurling that spine onto the floor. Legs down onto the floor, nice and straight. And supine twist. Bringing your right knee in towards your chest. Pushing that lower back into the floor, which is allowing that spine to straighten. Exhale, bring the knee over the top of the body. So supine twist. Maybe your gaze towards the right hand if that feels nice for the neck. And keeping those eyes closed. Inhale, coming back to center. And exhale, left knee in towards the chest. Pulling the knee in deeply towards the chest or towards that left armpit to deepen that sensation.
Exhale, bring the knee over the top of the body, coming into supine twist. Inhale, coming back to center. And taking any last movements you feel that you need before coming to your final Shavasana. A happy baby is a nice choice. And when you're feeling nice and even and your back is happy, finding your final resting pose. And now allowing your body to be completely still and completely relaxed. And now gently starting to wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe running your thumb gently over each of the tips of your fingers to bring attention back into the physical body. Inhale, maybe reaching hands up overhead and stretching from tips of fingers to bottoms of toes. Exhale, knees in towards chest, giving yourself a big hug. And it might feel nice to have a little rock and push that sacrum into the ground and massage the spine. When you're ready, rolling onto your favorite side, keep your knees in towards your chest and eyes closed. Using your hand to push yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Resting your hands on your knees or on your thighs. Eyes remained closed to hold on to this space you've created. And the act of self-care is that we can give the world the best of us rather than just giving what's left of us. So acknowledging in yourself that this practice is for you so that you can be stronger, happier, more centered to show up to serve others in your life. Self-care is not a selfish act. It's an act so you can show up and serve the best version of yourself to the world. Hands come to heart center in prayer. Namaste. Thank you for your energy and your practice today. It's been so nice to see you, and also for all the people online as well. I hope you enjoyed the class. I loved having you all. So nice to see all your lovely faces. And I hope to see you again soon. And hold on to this awesome positive energy that you've cultivated in yourself and pass it on to other people in your life. Thanks, guys. And we'll have a staggered exit as well, if that's all right. So we'll do like front row, middle row, back row, just so that there's not